how do you transition from being an agent who's working on their own deals to actually being a team leader and leading others? And I can tell you that the process is going to look completely different from every single person that decides to get into leadership and take a step up in their practice. So the first question I would ask is, why do you want to get into leadership? For me, leadership has always been a part of who I am ever since I was a kid. When I was in high school, I always looked to be in leadership organizations like the FBLA, like the ROTC, the student government, and on all of my sports teams, I always wanted to be captain. So it was for a lot of folks, leadership is just in your bones. It's a part of the fabric of who you are. And I'm one of those folks that, just has that type of mentality. So I'm very blessed that as I've progressed in each stage of my life, I've been able to hold leadership positions, and I've actually been able to refine my tools and skill set to be able to best serve folks that are new in the industry, or maybe new to the organization, or new to whatever endeavor that it is that I'm working in. I've always had that propensity, and I've always had the joy of imparting knowledge and working as a mentor or as a leader in the organization. Once I graduated college, I started as a teacher, and I progressed into becoming an assistant principal, and ultimately I retired in that capacity. And I can tell you that it has had a tremendous impact on my practice now as a team leader in real estate. The next question I would ask is, what is pushing you to become a leader, and what is pushing you to help others? For some folks, they like organizational influence. For me in particular, I truly, truly love serving and being a light for others. What that means to me is I like to provide folks with clarity. I like to help folks that are lost. I like to be someone who gives to others without the expectation of receiving, because I've always been the type that enjoys giving gifts more than I enjoy receiving them. And I think as a leader, the most effective leaders are going to be folks that can impart on others and are not going to be upset if they don't get any reciprocity. The best leaders are going to be those that plan for others without any type of expectation. And I'm very fortunate that I've been blessed in this life with a wonderful family and enough means to sustain my family. And for that reason, my cup is always full, and I'm very, very blessed that I'm able to give to others. What brought me into leadership in real estate is I had folks that were continuously asking, like, hey, I want to get into real estate. I'd love if you could mentor me in real estate. And it was something that kind of happened organically. I didn't actually look to get into leadership. It was more folks like Jules Ferguson, who just capped today.
Grab me some Rick Straw.
Hey, yeah. So, the cool thing is that, I was able to get into this because other folks pushed me into it and asked me, and I was so like honored and actually humbled at that folks would, ask me to do it, and to be there for them in that capacity, that, I started helping them without any type of title and without any type of expectation. And it was so cool to see folks going through the progression of registering for the class and then taking the exam, and in some cases failing the exam multiple times, and then me coaching them through that. And then when they passed, the expectation was kind of like, hey, I helped you through all of that. Maybe you can join my organization, and let me show you how. Here's the link. And then honestly, that's pretty much how it started. I actually left LPT because LPT wasn't allowing new mentors, and they were giving all these impediments to me being able to advance. So I said, how can I make this happen and be able to serve and grow in my capacity as a real estate agent? So what I did was I came to Real, and I had Daniel Perez, who was already here, who had already mentored me previously. So I just thought it was a good fit. And real opened me with open arms and was like, hey, we'd love you to come exercise some leadership here. So they gave me an opportunity to start a team. I started the team and was fortunate enough that Daniel was gracious enough to join me on my team. And from that point on, it was just recruiting and setting up systems. Now, I will be completely transparent and honest. There's so much growth that I need to have as a young team leader and with this young team. Because some of the things that we'll talk about are like, what are some of the foundational things that you'll need to develop a team? But as far as me introducing you to myself and how I got here, that was the progression. I was a real estate agent for 3 years. I became better and better year over year. Folks started to recognize my success and started to seek me out as a guide for them to begin their career. And then I had enough folks. I started the team with 3 people, not including Daniel and myself, so 5 people. And then from there, I probably did it ass backwards because I should have really established the systems before I started the team. But in my zealousness to serve and in my zealousness to grow as a leader, I kind of like backed into doing it. In retrospect, I really wish I would have spent more time front loading the systems and protocols that my team had. But hey, there's no better time to start than now. I honestly feel like you can always find a reason why not to do something. You can always find a reason why you're not good enough. And to be honest, a lot of times the hardest thing that you're going to encounter is just starting something. So I never let perfect get in the way of progress. So when I started, I knew there were holes in the ship, but I figured I'll build it while I sail. And to be honest, I have seen some success, but the more that I am working in this capacity, the more I'm learning what not to do, the more I'm learning what agents need. And I'm learning that you can't do it by yourself. You've got to empower people based on their strengths and find strength-based leadership I find strength-based leadership to be the most effective form of leadership. Coupled with my servant heart, I feel like those are the reasons that I provided different product than most folks, and I'll explain a little bit in a short time what are some things that I do. But a big differentiator for me is that I truly care about the people that I serve, and I don't see myself as a leader. I see myself as a thought partner. I see myself as the wind beneath a lot of these folks' wings and allowing them to be successful. And there's nothing better for me than to see the folks that I'm serving making deals, creating new connections, doing things independent of me where they're growing. And to be honest, you can't take account. I can't take credit for the work that they're doing. But what I can do as a leader is use the success that they're having and serve as a conduit to sharing that success with other folks and using the mistakes I made with them to better my practice, sharpen my sword, so that with the new folks that I'm bringing on, that I'm able to be a better leader to them, a better friend, a better thought partner. So what are the qualities of a good leader? In my opinion, and again, this is every leader is going to be different, and you could have folks that have none of these qualities and still are effective. But I feel there is a foundational there are foundational qualities that leaders have that I want to share with you, that no matter what leader you are, at the very foundation of who you are, you have to have these things. So the first one is you've got to be willing to work harder than everybody else on your team. Like if there is somebody that's following you and they don't feel like you're a hard worker, or they feel like they're working harder than you are working, then what that does is it erodes your credibility. It erodes your ability to lead, because folks that don't believe that you are going to work hard to supply them with opportunities, to supply them with wisdom, and to supply them with an environment that they can thrive. If they don't believe that you can do that, they will not follow you. And to be frank, I haven't had the breadth of experience that, team leaders that have been doing it 10, 12, 15 years have been doing it. But I've been able to cultivate strong relationships with my folks because they trust that I'm going to get to the office before them, and I'm typically going to leave after them. And that, in my opinion, is one of the most important qualities that you can have, is that you're willing to see the work as a necessary burden that you must carry. And you can't complain about it to folks that you're working so hard, because typically you don't complain to the people below you, you complain to the people above you. But really, who the hell wants to hear anybody complaining? That shit is whack. Like, if you're going to be working and you're going to be providing for other people and they've trusted you to be in a position of leadership, you've got to wear those hardships as a badge of honor. And honestly, the amount of loneliness that I felt being a leader, I can't put it into words, because the truth is that I accept that burden as a toll for the position I'm in. And if you're thinking about getting into a position of leadership, it is a thankless job. You're going to selflessly give to others if you're doing it right and you're doing it the way that I'm doing it. And honestly, you cannot expect for other people to show reciprocity, because if you do, you're going to live angry. And I take that same approach with my family, most specifically the family that live in my house. Like, I do for my wife, I do for my children, and there isn't necessarily an expectation that they're going to pay me back for the dinners that I take them to. I don't feel that the things that I do for my wife, I don't keep them in a record book, and I don't keep a tally of all of the things, because at the end of the day, if you are not accepting the role and the responsibilities and all of the baggage that comes with being in leadership, then truly you shouldn't be in leadership, because nobody's going to serve you when they're under you, if that makes any sense. Like, nobody is going to say, I'm going to join your team so that I can help you make money and so that you can use my work to do better for yourself. Everybody that's joined my team has been like, yo, how can you help me become a top realtor? How can you help me cap? How can you help me reduce the amount of errors that I'm going to make as a new agent? So you better believe that if you're looking to get into leadership, you're going to have to give a lot more than you receive, at least in the beginning. And that's a really hard truth, but that's something that you've got to accept moving into this capacity. All right. The second most important thing that I exercise, and that I feel like as a leader, you yourself are going to have to exercise as well, is that you cannot be selfish. Selfish with your time. You can't be selfish with opportunities, and you definitely can't be selfish with the tools that you've gotten through your experience as a realtor, as an independent agent. One of the ways that I am selfless with my agents is that every agent that comes through is getting put on deals that I have. Now, I'm not going to split my whole commission with them, because that's not being selfless. That's being stupid. You've got to give people an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to get experience. And how I do it, and this is my system, is I charge a transaction fee that typically goes to all the fees that I have to pay to the brokerage. But I've converted that transaction fee to pay for the new agents to be my transaction coordinator. So typically we do $4.99 to $6.99, which is not a huge sum of money, but shit, that's a lot more than most people get to learn. Like, how many of you guys that are listening to the call, and you can feel free to
I'm
chat.
right next to you. No, I just don't want to walk the 40s all the way over there. I'm just going to use it right here real quick.
Hey, look, I don't blame you. Don't watch that shit. Do what you got to do. Do it yourself. But if you can, get on mute. Thank you. The truth is that $4.99 to $6.99, depending on how big the house is, how much I can get away with, depending on how much I love the person I'm serving as a realtor. Typically, we do at least 500. $4.99 is pretty much the standard, and then if it gets a little higher, we do more. But this is the point. I charged the transaction coordinator I was working with when I was an independent agent. I only gave her $200 per file. And if I made more than $10K, I'd give her $300, which is not a whole bunch of money because number one, I was just starting. And number two, she wasn't really doing anything. She just wanted to help me because she loved me. And the fact that I was giving her money was like, thank you. I don't really need it, but thank you. But don't we all wish we had somebody like that? Her name is Darlene, and I love her. Anyway, so, I'm doubling the amount of money that I'm giving for the same exact service, but I'm giving folks an opportunity to do open houses at my listing, for them to market it as their own, and for them to make money. And then another important facet is that I put them on the transaction so that they themselves are getting transactions under their belt, and they're able to actually market themselves as an experienced agent who's got transactions and who's got the confidence to lead you through the transaction. Because I'll be honest, confidence only comes from obtaining knowledge and through experience. Right now, I'm confident as hell because I've sold a bunch of houses, and because I've got a bunch of realtors, so I've helped them sell their houses, and because I love learning. Like, I'm a student of this game, and I have without any type of funding or compensation, I've gone to help other realtors. I've gone to their open houses to support them. And I've helped folks that have been through problems, because there wasn't a long time ago that I went to a training. Well, it was about a year ago. I went to a training, and the person that was training told me, the more problems you solve, the more money you make. So if I can hear about other people's problems and be a fly on the wall and hear how they're solving their problems, then that gives me more infinity stones on my stuff. That makes me a more Thanos-like, and makes me be better as a leader and as a realtor myself. If you look at folks like Vince, Arcuri, and Ellie, like, they've been doing it so long that there's no possible way folks that have only been doing it 5-10 years can have the breadth and scope of experience that they have. So you've got to be, as a leader, super thirsty to learn, super thirsty to hear about other people's problems and how they solve them. And you've got to internalize that shit and make it your own. And when people come to you with these problems, you go in your Rolodex of experiences and go in your Rolodex of problems that you've obtained by seeking them out. And you give them the cards, you give them the tools so that they can be able to solve that problem. But the truth is that you have to be selfless with opportunities. You have to be willing to take an L so that your realtors can win. And if you're not willing to be selfless, if you're so stuck and you love money so much that you ain't willing to help other people get some change in their pockets so that they can start their career and get passionate about it and start feeling themselves so that they can have the confidence to be able to sell, then you're in the wrong position. Don't do this, because ultimately people are not going to trust you, and they're not going to want to work with you when the only one winning is you. The third thing is something I just touched on that I feel is super important. I always am trying to be the least smart person in the room. I want to be the least money making. I want to be the one with the least experience, and I want to be able to learn from everybody. I had a great conversation with the first guy I ever brought into real estate. His name is Jules Ferguson. I have a ton of respect for this guy because he's a self-starter. He's a go-getter. Now, granted, he's been in real estate less than a year, but today he had something to tell me. And guess what? It wasn't super flattering to hear some of the stuff, but the truth is that you can learn from anybody. So there's a fallacy that you only learn from folks that are higher than you and folks that have been doing it for a long time, or people that are making $400,000 a year. Those are not the only people that can teach you shit. Like, you can definitely learn from a new agent that's killing it. You can definitely learn from children. You can definitely learn from people that aren't in real estate, because guess what? Just because they're telling you stuff and just because they're giving you information, that doesn't mean you have to accept it. But you'd be a damn fool not to hear what people are telling you, because and give it consideration. And let me rephrase that, because I think it's so important. I should say it again. I think you're a damn fool if you hear people talking to you and giving you feedback about your practice, about things that you're doing. And if you're not listening and at least giving it consideration, I think you're a fool, because you can learn from anyone. And if you're not being reflective, there's no way that you can have growth if you yourself are not reflecting on your practice, if you yourself are not reflecting on every data point, whether it be qualitative, like feedback from others, or quantitative, like looking at your data, looking at what you're selling, looking at what you've done in the past, and making projections for what you want to do in the future based on the data. So you've got to constantly be learning, and you've got to be learning from diverse sources. Right now, I can tell you that Betsy is somebody that I am learning so much from. I look to her when I'm in crisis. I look to her when I'm feeling like I'm at the top of the world. And you, as an agent, most of you guys, I'm sure, have people that you're looking up to as mentors. And then when you become a leader, you've got to find somebody that's already done it and look to them when you're in those positions where you're frustrated and you need to vent. Remember, you're never venting down, you only vent up. You're looking for folks that will have already experienced these things, and that can provide light for you when you're in darkness. Because as much as I try to be a light, there are absolutely times when I'm in darkness and I need somebody to be a light for me. And having that person, before you even get into leadership, having that person, letting them know what your goals are, that you're trying to ascend up the ranks of the real estate world, and letting them know that you're going to need them in the future to be that sounding board for you, that you're going to need them to be that person that's going to be able to help them grow they're going to help you grow your practice, and that they're going to give you, which honestly, this is such a big thing, and it's the next thing I'm going to talk about, but that they're going to give you honest feedback that is independent of your feelings. Because really, fuck your feelings. They don't matter. All that matters is how you're growing, what systems you're setting up for your team, and how you're providing the systems and processes that are going to make success not just for you, but for the people that have given you the trust with their career and asked you to be their leader and help them in getting to the next stage of their career. So I think those are three important things. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, and I think this is super important, is that you have to be able to take feedback. And you've got to not just take the feedback, but you've got to use feedback, because feedback is so important that places like entities like Facebook and Meta, Instagram, all these things, they're making billions and trillions of dollars off of feedback, off of data. And as a leader, you've got to be able to ingest data, chew the data, digest the data, and be able to produce something that's going to not only improve practice for yourself, but you've got a huge responsibility to the people you're serving to be able to provide them powerful things that are going to improve their practice. I wear it as a badge of failure that some of my agents still haven't sold. Like, I take it personally because I am so invested in their success as a leader that I'm going to be selfless. I am going to be generous with my time, with my business, and I'm going to take feedback and I'm going to use it to improve practice and to create systems that are going to enable them to be successful. But if you are too stubborn, if you're too proud, if you're not humble enough to hear feedback, whether it be from an agent that's only been doing it for 7 months or from somebody like Vince or Ellie that's been doing it for 100 years, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're too proud to take the feedback and use it, or even to receive the feedback, you're never going to be in a position to really help others, because your ego and your pride is going to be so strong. It's going to outweigh all the other factors that you need to have to be an effective leader. So I think that feedback is going to be the fastest way that you can grow outside of being really hungry for learning. And I think being really hungry for learning means that you're going to take the feedback that others are going to give you, because I think that's the best qualitative feedback, is the feedback from your peers and what they say. And using that is going to be the best way to serve others, because when you use feedback, you're able to grow both emotionally, professionally, and in practice. And you'll also be able to grow trust, because people that give you feedback, when you listen and give it honest consideration, people feel validated. They feel like, he does this stuff and it's kind of fucked up sometimes, but at least he listens to me, and at least he's going to take the things that I'm giving him and he's going to give it serious consideration. So don't discount the words that others give you. And if they have the trust in you, and if they have the comfort to give you honest feedback, like, you've got to take it. And sometimes Betsy doesn't give me she doesn't sing shit to me. Sometimes she's saying, David, you're fucking up and you need to stop that. You're an idiot. And sometimes it's hard to hear, but you know what? I am humble enough to try to discern, the stuff, the hard stuff from the easy stuff. And Chris Joda, who is on the call, I'm sure he can tell you, because she's one of Chris is one of Betsy's prized pupils, and I'm hopeful that he will speak on that, because I know he's had to deal with some stuff too. But the truth is that when people with a good heart tell you things, I think you've got to look at that feedback and really know that even if they're not giving it to you in the best way, you've got to be able to discern from that and be able to take what's valuable, leave what's not. And when people with a bad heart, because people with a bad heart will also fake and say that and give you feedback, I think you still got to also take that and give it serious consideration. And obviously you've got to do it with a tempered lens and kind of you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you've got to be able to really objectively listen to it and try to extrapolate what's important and try to see okay, is there any validity to what's being said? Is there anything I can do to learn from what they're saying? And if they're not, just put it in the toilet and flush it, because not all feedback is good feedback, but that's your job as a leader to be able to discern that. All right, so those are the qualities of a good leader. All right, what mistakes have I made? Whew! I got some fucking mistakes for you here, okay? So I want you to hear all of them, because these are mistakes that if you're really thinking about getting into real estate, then you've got to do these things or not do these things and learn from my mistakes. Number one thing, when you develop a team, all systems need to be put together, like all systems. And I say that with full confidence because the systems that I'm putting in now are efficient. They are tested. They're, folks that have done this before have given them to me, and you don't have to recreate the wheel. A lot of the stuff has already been created before. Just do what they're giving you and bastardize it and make it your own. But don't change the ingredients. You could add some oregano, you could put a little extra salt, but don't change the ingredients, because a lot of the stuff is going to be
is it weird if I take a mat and fold it in half to do hip thrusts? That's just, even with the pad,
I think that's a weird conversation, but whatever. All right. But all right. So I would tell you that, number one, you're starting a team. You need to have a system in place for referrals. You need to have a system in place for listings. You've got to have a system in place, which all of you should be doing, to be honest. Everyone should be doing that for their own practice and then scaling it for a team. I've got systems in place and people in place for me as an individual, but that doesn't work for a team. What I'm doing as an individual needs to be scalable, so that as you're growing your team, folks can also do those things. Now, this is the problem that you're going to see, is that you're going to be a team leader, you're going to provide systems, and folks are just going to do their own thing. Because a part of being an independent business owner is you don't have to listen to people. You can just do what you want. And it's a double-edged sword, because if you are on a team, that means that you trusted that team leader to help guide your career. And if you're entrusting somebody to guide your career, but you're not doing what they're saying, then really, what's the point of you being on a team? The purpose is for you to be able to take the feedback that you're getting and use it to put into practice. So I'm going to tell you, create the systems that you want for your team. But really, if folks are going to be on your team, they may not even follow the systems that you're setting up. And that's up to you. And that's another conversation that you're probably going to need to have. Daniel is a co-team leader with me, and, he's of the ilk, people aren't doing it, just kick them off the team. And that's
this shit still kill.
What's that? Alexia, were you talking to me? Okay, she wasn't talking to me. But the fact of the matter is that starting a team, you need to have systems in place. That's without question. All right, another mistake I made was I expected that because I told people stuff that they were going to do it. Did not happen that way. I was, I'm leading people to water sometimes, and they're, slow to drink, and sometimes they don't even drink. And I'm not disparaging anybody. I'm not, definitely not calling anybody out on that. But I'm telling you, as a leader, that's going to happen. And even though I know certain things and I know how it's going to work out, when I impart that on certain folks, due to their inexperience, they don't understand the importance of what I'm telling them. So they don't do some of the things that I've talked to them about. And that is going to be one of the hardest things, is that you are going to have folks on your team that are going to do their own thing. And that's something I'm still navigating. And I don't know that there's a right thing to do or a wrong thing to do. I think it really is up to the leader. And the way Betsy will handle something as a team leader may not be the way that I handle it, even in the way that I deal with folks that are doing their own thing, the way I communicate my wants and needs. And that's okay, because Betsy and I aren't the same person. So, you've got to find and know who you are, be 100% confident in it and who you are, and then use that to try to guide how you're going to manage folks. Because I've been managing people all my life. I currently have, my real estate team, and I've had, I have a business that for folks with disabilities, and I've got 14 employees there. And to be honest, it's constantly managing and dealing with egos and solving other people's problems. And to be honest, it's all a part of what you're going to be doing. And if you have a hard time, dealing with folks, and if you have a hard time not being listened to at times, then you're going to have a really hard time as a team leader, because some folks are just in it for the leads, or in it because they don't feel confident, so a team gives them confidence, but they don't really want to hear what you got to say. And maybe those are the people that you've got to find a way to either grow them so that they can become better, or grow them so that they can be independent and not on your team, if that makes any sense. All right, so those are two of the big mistakes that I made. I've done a lot of great things. Here are some of the good things that I've done as a team. Number one, I have set a culture where we are collaborative and cooperative. There are folks that are on my team that are giving each other deals and that are putting each other on to work, which when I see that, it makes my heart super happy, because ultimately my job is not to keep everybody under my thumb. My job is to help people grow and to be able to grow and lead others, and to be mentors on the team, and to be people that can serve as models and examples for me as to, like, if you do what I'm saying, this is what can happen. I have a woman that's on my team. Her name is Kayla Thomas, and she's been with me from the very beginning. And today we had a tough conversation, because I'm like, yo, I haven't heard from you in a couple days. Like, what's going on? Like, is this new? But the truth is that she's super busy. She's actually doing deals. She's like starting new relationships with developers. She's putting other people on the team, and she's working really hard. So, your job is to help people grow so that they can lead others, not to keep them down. So, one of the things I've done is created a collaborative environment where folks are helping each other. And that, to me, is like the best thing that I've done, is create an environment of reciprocity, of mutual respect, and of folks that are just hungry to get after it, and they're bringing others up as they're moving up the ladder as well. Another really cool thing that I've done with my team is that I've been able to use people in their strengths. Like, certain folks have strengths with older populations, so I've been able to leverage that and put them in positions where they could be successful, helping clients that are older. I have a gentleman, Jules Ferguson, who I love to death, who's just capped today, and his superpower is that he's learned all of the new construction. So when I've had folks that are doing new construction, I definitely lean on Jules, even though he's only been doing it for like 7-8 months, because he's really knowledgeable about that, and he's produced over 100K in transactions closed and coming up, that are closing in this month in June. And using his strength, I've been able to help other people, because Jules is somebody that's willing to help everybody on the team. So, if you're not using other people to help the people that are on your team. And if you're not using their strengths to help the people that need that particular hole filled, then you're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to be able to help everybody effectively. So you've got to identify people's strengths and then use them. So I would say that using strength-based leadership has definitely been a great thing that I've done with my team. Another thing that I've done that I kind of extolled on before is that I put everybody in the work. Like, nobody is just going to be on the bench in my team. Everybody's getting in the game. And if you can't get on my transaction, you could have got on Daniel's transaction, or you could jump on Kayla's transactions, and everybody's getting in the game. So you've got to find a way to grow people's confidence so that they can sell. Because if you're not confident, you're not going to sell anything. You got to know that you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you got to know that you got somebody you can call to get it done. And as a team leader, you've got to be the one that they call, and you've got to be available. I've taken calls at 11 o'clock at night. I've taken calls from Kayla at like 5:45 in the morning because she has a job, another a side hustle that she does in the morning. I've been at the office at 7 o'clock on a Friday night with another agent, just helping them do an exclusive listing. All of these small things, they're small, but they actually are big to the people that are in darkness. So when you do those things, it really does create an environment of cooperation, and it gives people confidence, and it gives them experience, and it puts tools in their toolkit, and it lets them know that they're supported. All of those are important things when growing a team that's young, that's a lot of new agents, and it's all really important in building loyalty. Today, I had a situation that's really tough, which we're not going to go into right now, but it's really tough. And I had to have a really tough conversation with every single one of my agents. And because I built that equity with them, I got some really, really amazing feedback and really amazing things from them that completely filled my cup, and my cup is running over because of the reception to what I posed to my team today. All of that happens through shared struggle, through shared learning, through shared experiences. And I behoove you, if you are going to start a team, make sure that you're going to be generous with your time and with what you have going on, because the truth is that nothing buys loyalty faster than helping folks that are in darkness see the light, if that makes any sense. So without going on about all the great things that I'm doing, but those are some of the cool things that I'm doing. And I do want to share them with you because I'm proud of them, because they've taken so much time. They've taken so much energy from me. And because I'm so grateful that God has put me in this opportunity, that I'm able to be the light for these people. And I'm just like, I can talk about it for so long. I could be on this call for 3 hours tonight because it's just something I'm really passionate about. All right. So that's how my team runs. That's some of the mistakes I've made. Those are some of the good things I'm doing. Those are some of the processes. Where are you right now? I'm talking Jean Marie, Alexia, Serena, Kim, Chris. Where are you guys in your journey? And are you yourself looking to become a leader in real estate? Chris,
What's up,
unmute
Dave?
yourself.
How you
Awesome. I'm
doing?
so happy. So, Chris, I honestly was like, I hope Chris says something. Please, God, let Chris say something. So happy you're trying. Thank you, brother.
Man, when you mentioned Betsy, I knew I had to.
Hell yeah. Hell
No,
yeah.
first off, man, I want to say great call. You're a great speaker. I love everything you're saying. I got a lot of value out of it. And I don't know you as well as I know Daniel Perez or Betsy and Vincent Ellie or any of them, but I'm looking forward to connecting with you and getting to know you as a person further, because you sound like a great guy. But I'll say, man, I just came off of like a year of not doing real estate.
Mhm.
I've been in it for like 7 years now, but this last year I took a year off because I moved, so I had to get my life in order, and had a job for a while, and then Betsy let me. She was kind enough to let me stay on her team, and when I came back, I knew I was here to stay. So it's been quite a journey coming back and ramping up, but being a senior agent on somebody's team comes with a lot of the leadership stuff you were talking about as well. So I will say, from a leadership standpoint, it does take a lot. I've been with Betsy sometimes to 12:30 in the morning working on deals. And we're a little extreme, but she knows my work ethic. She knows I love the work. And I think that is a big part as far as being a leader, willing to put in that time with your agents. And where I'm at right now is Betsy's really helped me grow my business tremendously. And that has, it happened almost, it feels like it happened overnight, So going from doing, one transaction a month to working on 3-4 deals every month is, I don't think people understand how much work goes into something like that, especially if you're working both buyers and sellers. If you're working buyers, you figure out your processes, things are good, but getting listings is a lot. I think having a listing is a lot more work than just closing a buyer. Everything that goes into selling real estate from a listing standpoint. Betsy told me something really good the other day, is that when you're in real estate, you have to manage people's asset better than you would your own. And that's something she heard from her father. I was like, I'm going to write that down because it was gold to me, because when you're working real estate, a lot of people will throw a listing up and they think their phone's going to ring off the hook. But when your phone doesn't ring off the hook, like in this market, if you don't have a hot commodity and your phone is not ringing for these listings, well, then what are you going to do? You're managing someone's asset of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you're not going to make them feel like it is your top priority, then they're going to find somebody else. So long story short, going from not being as busy to being extremely busy. And I can't even say extreme because, we know, you and I both know agents that are doing 10, 15 deals a month, so, you're doing 4 deals in a month. It's like, to some people, it's like, dang, you're killing it. But to other people, they're going to be like, you're doing pretty good. You're doing well, kid, So when the pressure comes, it's like, you have to be able to deal with the pressure as if you're going to step into a role of leadership or be a top producer or be someone's senior agent on their team. You have to be willing to deal with that pressure. And as well as I do, if you're with Betsy, there's going to be pressure, So Betsy is not everybody's cup of tea, but she is an amazing, I can't even stress it enough, how much of a great leader she is. And she knows her stuff, bro. Like, Betsy knows her stuff. So if you're on a team and they're not imparting that wisdom on you, well, then it's probably not the right place for you, right? Because if they're just giving you leads and expecting you to go out there and fend for yourself, you're probably not going to last as long, because when the pressure hits, which it always will, you're not going to know what to do with yourself. So if you don't have people that are willing to invest in you, then it's, you have to figure out where you're at. But I think, there's a lot that goes into being a leader. And me personally, I would not want to be a team leader or a team owner or own my own brokerage or any of that. I've led throughout throughout my life. It's not something that I chose to do. You kind of fall into it. But I wouldn't, if I had a choice, I wouldn't want to start my own team, just because I don't like managing people. It's not really my thing. Can I help people? I'm always here to help. I don't shy away from any of that. I've helped some of our other agents at 10 o'clock in the night, 8 o'clock in the night. It doesn't matter. I'm here to help because I want to see everybody win. But me personally, it's a tremendous amount of pressure even being a leader, right? When other people's lives are dependent on you and what you're putting out for them, there's that comes with its own pressure. I just love selling real estate. So selling real estate, getting into investments that's my end game, is to do it on my own like that. But no, I commend you and Betsy, because you sound like a great leader. I know how much of a great leader Betsy is. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I'm so happy where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot from her. Let me ask you this: How do you process feedback when you receive feedback? Because I know Betsy can be a little abrupt at times, and she knows this. So like,
she knows it. She's not afraid of it.
yeah, she knows. So how do you receive the feedback? Does the way that it's being delivered, does that matter to you? Does it matter who's giving it?
I will say, to a lot of people that does matter. But I come from a sports background my whole life. So, and my coaches were not easy coaches either. I never had an easy coach that was just giving you a handout. You had to earn everything. So I see Betsy in the same way. She has a son who played basketball at a pretty good level too. And she was not easy on him either. So she always
Yeah.
tells me stories about that, and I gel well with that. You know, I will say there are a lot of times where someone else would hear that and they'd be like, "What the hell is talking to you like that?" You know, right? But at the same time, you got to know like this is my leader, you know, and she's
Yeah.
not going to be easy on me, and it comes with a lot of deep breaths, right?
For
You
sure.
just gotta breathe, man. You gotta breathe because sometimes that feedback is not easy to listen to from everybody, you know, especially when it's
Mhm.
someone who you care about the way they see you. I think that's where
Mhm.
people get misled, or they don't process that part. Is you're feeling those feelings because you care about the way they see you. So if you know
Mhm.
that and you're like, I'm feeling down on myself because I'm not doing the things that'll make this person proud. Well, that's when
Mhm.
you get butthurt. But sometimes people can't process that. But if they could just internalize that, they'll take feedback way better. You know, so I
Mhm.
will say that I think it just comes with a lot of deep breaths to keep cool and not take things personal, because at the end of the day, you know, that person just they want to see you win. They want to see you be better than them. So
Yep.
if you know that your leader values you like that, that same person that's gonna sit here and chew you out and tell you where you're messing up so bad is the same person that's gonna look at you and be like, "You're killing it. You're doing great." And when they say
Yeah.
that, you know, when they say that, that you're
Yeah.
like, yes, you know, it makes everything worth it. So it's all about staying in the zone, staying in the game, and knowing that, you know, they're telling me this for my own benefit. Because if you think about it, at the end of the day, you know, there's times when I get off the call and I might be frustrated with my damn self, you know, I'm just like, shit. But you sit here and you think about it and you're like, well, I want to do the best for my client. You know, you
Yeah.
want to do your best for that client because that's the only way you're going to get referral business. It's the only way you're going to last in this business is by making your clients happy. And I mean, how else are you going to get an amazing review on your Google profile? Or how else are you going to get referral business unless you're giving them the service that makes them like, damn, no other agent is giving me service like this. And I think
Mhm.
Betsy has so many tools in her belt like that
Mhm.
she has so many tools that agents just aren't doing that she imparts on me to do for my clients. And it's a lot of freaking work, man. But you think
Yeah.
about it, if Betsy's been doing her business like this for 18 years, well, why the hell am I why am I not doing it?
We're gonna
You
do it.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, so
So
many
if she's
jewels.
been
Thank
doing it
you
that
so
long, it's amazing.
Chris, so many
So
jewels, so many jewels. I appreciate you doing this, sharing, because I think you're in a very unique position where you're a high producing agent, and you came from someone who's you learned to take the feedback because you know that it's coming from a good place. Like if it's not coming from a good place and somebody talks to you like that, then it's a different story. But because
mhm.
you trust with her, you're able to receive that. One thing I would say though for everybody is like even folks with a bad heart can sometimes give you information that you've got to obviously discern, but you can always learn from anybody, and any feedback should objectively be considered. And I'm very grateful. Thank you for sharing, Chris. Thank you so
Man,
much.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, David. Look forward to seeing you around, brother.
likewise, likewise. Jean
Yes,
Marie,
sir.
you got anything for us? Okay,
Oh,
well,
I
I
am not.
oh, sorry. I
I,
thought you were done. All right,
no,
what
I'm
you
still
got, Jim?
here. I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in being a team lead, but the information has been wonderful, and I have great respect for those that are leading teams. So I really
Awesome.
appreciate this information.
Jean Marie, how long have you been in real estate?
About 25 years.
Oh, wow. So you got a huge reservoir of knowledge. So let me ask you
Um,
this. When you are approached for coaching and stuff like that, how do you assess whether to do it, and how do you provide coaching to folks that see you as somebody that's been doing it for a long time and knows what they're doing?
I absolutely will share any information I have and any experience I have. Obviously, every situation is unique. I'm licensed in multiple jurisdictions, so it depends on where I am as well. But yeah, I mean, and I find that with Real, it's very much like other brokerages that I've been with, the culture is wonderful. Everybody will help out where they can. So it's and I have not had any problems finding people to help me. So it's a very good culture. I'm kind of at the tail end of my career, and I'm not going to broaden it right now, or probably ever at this point.
Gotcha.
But it's always good to have the input and to understand what you guys go through.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you for being on the call. Thank you for sharing. I'm always so grateful when you're on these calls and folks talk, because it can be so like overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, are people even listening? Am I doing a good job? And when folks interact, it's really helpful. So thank you, Gina.
You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if there's anybody else that'd like to share anything, welcome. Now's a great time to do it. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the call. I hope it brought you got something out of it. I am so grateful for this opportunity to be able to share what I have going on and some of the things that I've gleaned in my time in real estate. I am overwhelmingly thankful to be a realtor in Florida, and I'm really, really, really grateful that I'm at Real. So thank you guys for being here, and I hope you have a blessed night.